So Joe Rogan, he loved Tulsi Gabbard, and then he endorsed Bernie Sanders. And those are his two favorite candidates, Bernie and Tulsi. And when he endorsed Bernie Sanders put that out on his Twitter, and they touted it because the whole thing about why you got to nominate a moderate is because moderate can get you could get independents to vote for you, right? That's the whole thing. Oh, they can get independents. You got to get the independents to swing the election. Well, if there's anybody who represents the independents, it's Joe Rogan, right? And his audience, right? And so here's what he said about Joe Biden.
This is the real issue with the Democratic Party. They've essentially made us all morons.
Yeah.
With this Joe Biden thing. They really have. They
you
made us all
imagine?
morons.
Who do we need? I mean,
I can't vote for that guy.
I can't vote for him.
I can't vote for him.
I can't vote for Trump.
I'd rather vote for Trump than him. I don't think he could handle anything. I mean, you're relying entirely on his cabinet. Like, if you want to talk about an individual leader that can communicate, he can't do that. And we don't even know what the fuck he's going to be like after a year in office.
So that's what Joe Rogan said. And now, which is what, you remember all the people saying, I won't vote for Bernie? Do you remember when Donnie Deutsch on MSNBC said, I'm going to vote for Trump if Bernie's the nominee? Do you remember that? I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
People have been saying that left and right. But now because someone said, I'm not going to vote for a guy who's obviously demented and can't finish a sentence, and you're all making us into morons, we're all supposed to go, yeah, let's vote for the guy who's basically mentally deficient, who's not all there. And we're all supposed to go along with this? Like, that's how corrupt the Democratic Party is. That's how broken and calcified they are. And he's like, you're not going to make a sucker out of me. And he's right. He's 100% right. And, I mean, I'm not going to vote for Trump. I'm going to vote for the Peace and Freedom Party person, probably. Jose says, remember how the Bernie campaign was flaunting the Joe Rogan endorsement? Well, turns out that Joe Rogan would rather vote for Trump over Biden. Considering how close the Bernie campaign was to Rogan, seems important for Bernie, or at least his campaign, to issue a statement. Yeah, Bernie's got to make sure he's a good little boy. He's a good little Democrat. Bernie's got to make sure he's a good little Democrat. Oh, I can't believe someone would vote for somebody else. So what Kyle Kalinske says is, yes, Bernie must apologize for Biden being so weak that swing voters preferred Trump over him. Because that's what that reveals. That swing voters are going to vote for Trump over Biden. That's what that reveals. You can't run a guy who's obviously demented just because your media won't talk, just because Chris Hayes and Rachel Maddow are fucking bought and sold for it. They won't fucking tell you that he's demented. Just because they won't tell you that doesn't mean he isn't. They're lying. How could you keep turning to those news? Like right now, how could you still turn on Rachel Maddow and Chris Hayes knowing they're lying to you about Joe Biden, knowing they lied to you about Bernie Sanders, but now they're also lying to you about Joe Biden? They're playing you for a chump because they have no integrity or moral center or not. They're not good people. They're fucking bought and paid for pieces of capitalist paper. That's all. They're a commodity. They've turned their integrity into a commodity and it's for sale. Because you don't think nerds will lie to you. And they know that. That's why they hired nerds, to lie to you. Here's what Bakari Sellers, oh God. He says, when we told you about Joe Rogan, we were scolded. You guys have all been saying you're not going to vote for Bernie. Liberal logic, whenever Trumpers say they'll vote for Biden against Trump, but not Bernie, that's a reflection of Biden's appeal. So whenever Trumpers say they'll vote for Biden against Trump, but not for Bernie, that's a reflection of Biden's appeal. But when Joe Rogan says he'll vote for Bernie against Trump, but not Biden, it means Bernie attracts terrible people. See how that's inconsistent? And the inconsistent logic favors the establishment once again? Get in line. Get in line. Ryan Grimm says, the question of touting Rogan aside, he didn't handle it well. He did, of course. That Rogan now supports Trump over Biden is exactly the point Bernie was making. Bernie said he was the one who could uniquely flip people from barbarism to socialism. So this makes his point. It doesn't refute it. Perfectly said by Ryan Grimm. Perfect. This makes his point. Of course. Do you see that they're going to vote for me and not Biden? That's why you guys should have nominated me. Well, Bernie couldn't make that case. It's up to Ryan Grimm to fucking make that case for him. Ryan Grimm makes it better than his campaign ever fucking.
Yeah,
By
no
the way, he
kidding.
wouldn't even say it. You know what Bernie says when they ask him? You know what Bernie says when they ask him?
Do you think, say it is Biden, do you think Biden can beat Trump?
I do.
Okay. I know it's got to be. If you don't laugh, you'll cry.
Jimmy,
I'm telling you right now. If you don't laugh, you'll cry. I'm fucking telling you right now.
Jimmy Jam, Peppy22 said, Jimmy Fallon said that Biden is an eloquent speaker.
Who said that?
Jimmy Fallon of Joe Biden. He's an eloquent speaker. Thank you, Peppy22.
Thank you, Peppy. Here's Joe Biden. I found this on the Twitters today. Here's Joe Biden.
Oh.
People still watch MSNBC and CNN and think they're getting news.
Oh,
People still think they're getting news.
Jimmy, I do a sneak peek every so often on Rachel Maddow, Chris, and Brian. And the other day, what was happening was Rachel was really upset about Trump, if that can surprise you at all.
Oh, I'm shocked.
Mm-hmm.
Was she
upset.
outraged? Was she flummoxed and outraged?
Well, she let me know in every which way how upset she was at Trump and the poor way he managed the coronavirus. Seeing that MSNBC was out in front of this story for years.
They were covering the impeachment instead of warning everybody about the coronavirus, right? If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure Chris Hayes, fake tough guy Lawrence O'Donnell, Chris Hardball's gone forever to join Bill O'Reilly in that sex harassers podcast in the sky. Tip of the day, Bill O'Reilly. If you drink water before a meal, you'll probably eat less. Tip of the day, Bill O'Reilly. That's the kind of shit he does now. I'm not kidding. Tip of the day.
Tip of the day.
Hey, this is the part where I tell you where our live shows are, but there aren't any. And then I would tell you to go join our premium, but nobody has a fucking job. So why don't you just enjoy the video?